Hey guys, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So, I want to talk about the fact that honestly, I'm never tired of this case because I find it very interesting. I feel bad for Tory. I also feel bad for Megan Thee Stallion because, I feel like Tory should have took the plea deal. I think it was like 2 years if he knew that he did something wrong that night. By all appearances, it seemed like he did do something wrong that night because he did not get on the stand. Now, recently I heard somebody say that he was under a gag order, which doesn't make any sense. How can he be on trial, but then the gag order would prevent you from talking? That doesn't make any sense. Now, recently, a representative, Anna Paulina Luna, she is she's not a representative, she's a congresswoman, and she was talking about this like a barrage of information that basically is pointing to Tory Lanez being innocent, and she's going to try to get him a pardon by the governor. Because it's a state case, that is who will be able to look over the evidence and kind of override it. She said there's going to be a letter that's going to be sent out to the governor to try to see what they can do to help Tory. So I'm reading this article from News Nation. Rep Luna says she has new evidence, and this is by Demita Meneses. Rep Anna Paulina Luna says she has seen new evidence proving Tory Lanez is innocent of shooting performer Megan Thee Stallion and is seeking a pardon for the rapper from California, Governor Gavin Newsom. Now, I feel like it's kind of like years too late. So the narrative that has been going on right now is that, oh my God, Tory Lanez is very reputable. He's very honorable because, according to his words, he did all of this to protect two Black women from what really occurred. One of the things he said is to protect Megan Thee Stallion's reputation. Okay, she was an up-and-coming star. She was still young. She's still young. Her career is just budding and developing. I get that, right? But protect Kelsey, and protect Kelsey from what? And one of the things that he said is, he started talking about, in the text messages with Jason Lee, that he lost his mother at a young age. But the thing is, Kelsey was not a mother as yet, so it doesn't make sense to say that you were protecting Kelsey because she was a mother. Kelsey wasn't even a mother as yet. She wasn't pregnant, so that didn't make any sense. So, in quotations, this is what Anna Paulina says. Based on the evidence that I've seen, Tory is innocent, Luna said Tuesday on News Nation's Cuomo. We are calling on Gavin Newsom to issue that pardon immediately. The Florida Congresswoman who serves on the House Oversight and Accountability Committee said her office was presented with evidence that actually disproved the conviction of Lanez, who was sentenced to 10 years behind bars in 2022. So, okay. I don't want to lose where I was at. So it doesn't make any sense, because why wasn't this evidence presented in court? I've seen some sources stating that there was video footage, like a ring camera footage, to show what actually happened, and that it would match what his attorney is now stating, which is that Tory was wrestling with Kelsey to get the gun out of her hand. The gun dropped and then it shot 2 more times, but he never touched the gun. That doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. So in essence, they're saying that Tory never shot the gun, but then the actual evidence states that the fingerprints on the gun has to belong to a male. Hey guys, thank you for commenting down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay. Luna specifically cited DNA evidence that she says undermines the case. So in quote, she said, they actually found 4 people's DNA on that firearm. So this is what I was talking about. None of which was Tory's, not to mention there was 0 fingerprints on the actual magazine, she said. So she also referenced what she called, in quote, ring footage that's been obtained that actually disproves the whole dance Megan scenario described in the court testimony, where Lanez allegedly told Megan to dance before shooting at her feet. So I guess the ring camera footage is going to support the fact, the audio piece, Now, so you see, they're playing with words here because the Ring camera footage to support what occurred that night, I thought they were talking about like actual visual, like seeing who shot the gun. But I guess it's basically talking about, the audio, what was said. So Luna said she has reached out to Newsom's office requesting an emergency meeting and is working with Democratic colleagues from California on the issue. The Congresswoman said she spoke with Lanez, who was recently stabbed 14 times while incarcerated. According to Luna, Lanez plans to work on prison reform once released. Ciao. Okay, so Lanez was convicted after testimony from Megan Thee Stallion, her friend Kelsey Harris, and DNA evidence that prosecutors said linked him to the weapon. Now, that's another thing, because this is coming up a lot in the Diddy trial. Kelsey Harris, which is Megan's former best friend, did ask for immunity. Typically, you ask for immunity if to protect yourself from, I guess, you did something wrong during the course of the whole thing. So it's to protect yourself. So I'm kind of confused as to why she asked for immunity as well. Unless it was for immunity because she knew she was going to lie on the stand. I don't know. I'm confused about that. Luna said her involvement in the case began after being approached by model and television personality Amber Rose. So I guess Amber Rose kicked off this whole thing. So that's the end of that article. But there has been a response since then from Megan Thee Stallion's attorneys as well. So Megan is very upset about this, and she feels like she's being re-victimized every time she has to come online and see people still debating like whether or not she was shot. And I think Megan is that's just something that I think people are just gonna do. Rihanna had to live with that for some years as well. Chris Brown, I remember a few years after the incident between Rihanna and Chris Brown, where I saw a video. Chris Brown, I think he was coming out of a store or something, and somebody who just randomly was like, I wish somebody would beat the F out of you. I wish somebody would, they basically was like, they wish somebody would hit him. And that was like years after. Chris Brown has to hear that, unfortunately, everywhere he goes sometimes. He probably hears it all the time. Rihanna used to hear, certain things. And as a matter of fact, speaking of being re-victimized, there's actually I don't know if it's South Park. I think it's South Park or one of them. I feel like it's South Park or Family Guy, where they and Law and Order. They basically reenact the whole relationship between Chris Brown and Rihanna. And the girl actually kind of looks like Rihanna and everything. So I think Megan is going to have to just understand that this is what is going to happen. People make light of the most serious things sometimes, and as a celebrity, it's something that you have to deal with. So I feel like she has to find some way to cope with that, because that's just a thing. That's just the thing. That's what they do. Okay, so Megan Thee Stallion's lawyers reject Tory Lanez new evidence claim. So the combination photo shows Tory Lanez performing. Okay, we're not talking about the photo. I want to know about the article. Okay, Megan Thee Stallion's lawyer said there's no new evidence that would exonerate Tory Lanez despite recent claims from the rapper's fans and legal team. In a 31-page report released Thursday, Megan's attorneys outlined the evidence against Lanez, who is currently serving 10 years behind bars for shooting and wounding the hip-hop star after a party in July 2020. Specifically, Megan's legal team said there was no new Ring camera footage of the incident, as Lanez's team has claimed, and said it was already played at the rapper's trial. Tory Lanez claims video proves he didn't shoot Megan. Okay. Despite Mr. Lanez being convicted at trial by overwhelming evidence that included his own admission of guilt, he and his team, flanked by any ignorant person they can find, have pushed whatever misleading narrative they can, Megan's lawyer, Alex Spiro, said. Or Spiro. Megan's attorney also disputed claims of a new witness, calling them unsworn rumors being spread as fact. At a press conference last week, attorney Walter Roberts said Lanez didn't fire the weapon and that it was Megan's former friend Kelsey Harris who shot her. Roberts said his organization, Unite the People, was approached by a bodyguard of Harris who claims he overheard her say that she fired the gun. And why didn't this individual take the stand when the trial was happening? Why would you wait almost 3 years later to say this, to come forward with this information? Okay, in Thursday's report, Megan's legal team pointed out that the alleged former bodyguard was not an eyewitness or present at the scene of the crime and did not appear at the press conference to support the allegations. One by one, their misleading statements unravel, and all that is left is the simple truth. He was convicted by overwhelming evidence, and those who seek to traumatize the victim of the crime should be called out as foolish bullies, Spiro said. Lanez is currently recovering after he was attacked by another inmate in a California prison earlier this month, causing both of his lungs to collapse. The rapper was stabbed 14 times in the attack and is now being transferred to a new facility, his father said on News Nation's Cuomo on Wednesday. I really feel bad for Tory that has happened. And if for any of us who believe, it's a conspiracy that this is all of a sudden happening because he wants to refute the claims, I think Megan kind of looks guilty there because she's basically spiraling after they're speaking about it. And I feel bad because if you want to run with that conspiracy, then maybe Tory's not going to survive prison, if that's the case, right? If you want to go with a conspiracy theory. So I think it's unfortunate on both ends. I wish that Megan would find a way to deal with this because as a celebrity, people are going to talk about you. They'll even talk about your kids, like I said in my last video. So what do you guys think? Do you think that Tory Lanez is going to be released? Do you think he will be pardoned? Do you think that the governor is actually going to pardon him and it's going to be time served? Now, if he gets pardoned, I wonder if it's going to be the same thing as overturning of the conviction. I don't know if it's going to be the same thing because it's not actually happening in the court of law. It's going to be like a special circumstances. Because if the conviction was to be overturned, Megan, the court, so many people will be liable, especially with him almost losing his life. They're going to owe him so much money, lost wages, business, endorsements, anything that he lost during this time that he was in jail. They're going to be paying him for the rest of his life, basically. So I don't know if they're willing to take that chance. That's another thing. I don't know if they're really willing to take that chance. I mean, it has happened. The justice system has failed before. It has failed individuals, having them in jail for 20 and 30 years, and they're innocent. So it has happened before. So I don't know. I think Tory has suffered a lot. I think that, with everything that we know, if it is as is, I think that he did not intend to shoot Megan. I think that it was a heat of the moment. I think the gun should have never been pulled out in the first place. But what they do need to prove, or what they should prove, is that the fact that the gun doesn't belong to Tory. Because a lot of people are saying that the gun belonged to Kelsey. If they can prove that the gun belonged to Kelsey, then we're getting somewhere. But my narrative of the story is that things got heated. They were in an argument, and he pulled that gun out. Kelsey said that he motioned like he was going to do it during the argument. Kelsey had words with Tory right before he did this. She had words with him because the argument was actually between Tory and Megan. And then Kelsey was trying to, support Megan and was kind of telling Tory, like, don't talk to her like that. He was calling her out of her name. He was calling the B word, such and such. And Kelsey was like trying to pick up for her friend, like, hey, don't address her in that way. So what do you guys think? I think Tory has suffered enough. I don't know if he's learned the lesson at all, because I think the point is people don't want Tory to come out and say, see, I've been innocent all along. And I think that's where Tory is headed, but he needs that evidence to back that up. So I hope that they do have that if that's where they're headed with this. So what do you think? Comment down below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I appreciate you guys supporting me. Thank you for tuning in.